Hey guys, so we are going to watch Brenda Fruhvirtova against Coco Gauff. I think yesterday Ghosty said something along the lines of, "Why is Damian watching a WTA match?" And actually, I'm going to be watching another one here, and it's a pretty exciting one. Of course, it's likely to be lopsided. It's likely that Brenda will not be good enough yet, but well, we have to sort of wait and see, right? Coco Gauff is defending the title in Auckland. It was an extremely dominant rout last year. I think she lost. I think it was a 6-4, 6-4 against Kenyan. That was her most competitive match. Here she's already had a fairly competitive one in the opening round against Claire Liu. Brenda Fruhvirtova, of course, if someone for some reason hasn't heard of her, is 16. Along with her sister Linda, of course, they are sort of touted as huge prospects coming up from Czechia. I think especially with Linda, I have a lot of issues. Brenda's game is just like so far it's just the foundation. You kind of have to see what she's gonna do with it. But the funny thing about her is that she's won 15 ITF titles in the past 2 years, and this year is going to be like a bit of a let's see if she already has the game to step up. Linda, you could probably argue that didn't really, despite winning a WTA title, actually winning a main tour title, then of course she fell back down. Whereas Brenda, I think maybe in the long run will be a little better suited to the pro game, but that's like, yeah, I don't think we can really say that yet. Like so far, this is just guessing. This is just really a guess. So yeah, this would be huge, of course, for her if she won the best win of her career. Is it actually possible? I think we would have to see something new from her, like as a level of aggression she hasn't really displayed before. That backhand is a really smooth shot, maybe some good shot making there, and who knows? She does have a lot of tape on her left. Sorry, is it left? No, it's right leg though. So that's a little bit worrying. I'm just under her knee. But yeah, as I said, like she also was limited by the WTA has these rules, right? So like if you're 14, 15, you can only play a certain number of events. So of course Brenda until last year was limited by this. On the ATP side, it doesn't really exist because 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds aren't like good enough to compete with the pros anyway. Whereas, Fruhvirtova gave up juniors pretty quickly because she was way too good for it already. So that's why she was sort of limited by these rules. But of course, as I said, 15 ITF titles across the past 2 seasons. So it's actually quite ridiculous. And right now, she's also on like an unbelievable run, about 30 wins in 31 matches or something like that at this stage. But I think the only loss was to Sonia Kraus in an ITF semifinal. So definitely, a lot of these matches were played at like a much lower level than this. So in a way, we're also sort of checking out if Brenda is actually ready this week, and I think throughout the year that will really be one of the main topics relating to her and maybe relating to junior prospects on the WTA tour as a whole. Whether both Fruhvirtovas, but I think specifically Brenda, are already ready for for the main tour for that sort of a game against Coco Gauff, against one of the best players in the world, against the Grand Slam champion. Of course, Coco Gauff, who's just 3 years older than her, I think. Right? Yeah, it has to be 3 years older than her. So the difference definitely isn't as massive as it usually is when Brenda plays on the tour. But yeah, she's already won 3 matches this week as well, beating Tse, Sakatsuma, and Blinkova. Blinkova, a pretty impressive win, I think, probably her best one yet. And in fact, I believe that this was her first main tour victory as well. So I believe she's also on the verge of breaking the top 100, but that would be kind of tough given that she's playing Gauff here. Let me see if just one win is going to be enough for her. This is kind of off topic, but another player trying to break the top 100 today is Arina Rodionova at the age of 34, which would be such a cool story. She plays Mira Andreeva in Brisbane, so I'm not sure she's going to do it. Brenda, no, this win would not be enough just yet. So she's not playing for it, but she is at her career high in the live rankings right now, 109. She's getting really close, and it's highly likely that before she finishes her 17th birthday, she might already be a top 100 player. Gauff with a couple of stunners backhand down the line now, though, and we'll see if Brenda can hold as easily as Coco did. this backhand is pretty deep, and it does give her the first game. So I think Coco might be challenging though, but I would assume that she's going to be wrong. Yeah, we are waiting for a challenge indeed, but I think it was clearly on the line. Yes, indeed. Hey Jane, yes. I'm also going to be back probably later or I don't know, maybe it's the next day for you. It's kind of going to be the next day for me for a friend of the show, Liam Brody, playing Andrei Rublev in Hong Kong. We also are going to have a stream from Raducanu's Svitolina. I think a lot of people joining there. Um, Isabel, Miles, and Bianca, maybe. I don't remember, but yeah, definitely a couple of people there for Raducanu Svitolina, also a pretty big match, obviously. If I am awake at that point, I will definitely try to watch it as well. And there's also going to be a stream for Nadal Kubler. If everything goes smoothly, sort of according to plan, then these streams will not really like interact with each other, in terms of the time. They will probably be individual and like won't overlap. But we will see if that's actually the case. Of course, with tennis, you never really know. A couple of sloppy errors now from Coco to start of the third game. And she will be love 30 down. To be honest with you, Fruhvirtova hasn't really shown much yet. But, it's just the third game of the match. So I guess just like with her sister, like the main concern is whether there's going to be something special about her ground strokes, really, and whether that sort of consistency that she has built up and sorry, my alarm clock for this one. But yeah, whether this consistency that she has built up and with which she absolutely dominated the ITF tour. I'm going to talk about some of her stats from the last 2 seasons in a second. Whether that will turn into something, greater, something that will actually allow her to maybe not dominate opponents on the main circuit, but at least, be able to impose her game a little bit more. We have a sensational rally here, and that drop shot from Fruhvirtova was actually really poor. I think especially after the last few shots, which she was playing with a lot of good pace and depth. That was a bit of a disappointment. But eventually, Coco Gauff's smash wasn't also perfect, and Fruhvirtova gets a pretty good defensive shot here. Good athleticism getting there as well, and Coco misses the next shot. So that's a pretty spectacular rally won by the young Czech, who now has 3 breakpoints. But yeah, I mean, overall, I did enjoy the first few shots that she played in this rally for sure. She was really actually staying on top of the point against Coco. Anyway, double fault. So we have an early break for the young Czech. Probably not going to matter all that much since I believe that, breaks will feature quite a lot in this match. But still, she is 2-1 up. It's a great start for her. And certainly a few sloppy errors from Coco after firing these 2 insane backhands down the line in the second game. Was Droguet tanking? Craziest scoreline we will see. I mean, I didn't watch it. I was taking a nap at that point. I don't think it was a crazy scoreline. Like, I still don't really consider Droguet a top challenger player, and I think I'm absolutely fine with it. I read that he was absolutely horrific, though. You remember an old Uncle Ghosty said Serbia should play Medjedovic? No, they shouldn't be playing Medjedovic instead of Djokovic. No, Ghosty. This still isn't true. Absolutely not. If they could play Medjedovic instead of Danilovic, yes. As I said earlier, hello to Miles as well. As I said earlier, Miles will be on a later stream today. Does Medjedovic seem like he might have sturdier forearms and wrists? I mean, everything is sturdier for him, I guess. So yeah, it would be conceivable. Let's say. But by the way, yeah. Speaking of these stats that I was going to bring up for Brenda Fruhvirtova, so obviously the win rates in 2022 and 2023 were absolutely ridiculous. Part of that is because she was playing at a weaker level than this. But of course, still to go 56-11 in 2022 and then 52-9 in 2023, like regardless of the level of competition, this is impressive. And if you look at her results since July last year, so basically after Wimbledon qualifying, where by the way she also was doing pretty decent. Like she was in the final round at Wimbledon, losing to Yuan Ye, so one of the players who were taking the court today, just a second before her. Yuan Ye actually lost 2-6 to Martic, which is why this match is starting pretty quickly. But yeah, Fruhvirtova also qualified for the French. But what I was going to say is that since, let's say, early August, she basically played 7 ITF events, won 6 of them, and only had that one loss that I mentioned to Sonia Kraus. So basically, since the beginning of August, she has lost just twice. That one match to Kraus, and also in the US Open qualifying, she lost to Moyuka Uchima. So yeah, I mean, ridiculous percentages, obviously. Whether this is quality of the competition or not, I think we are sort of in the middle of finding this out. And of course, so far she's holding up against Coco. I think this is also a decent matchup. Like when she played Rybakina at the French, you could kind of tell that, yeah, she's not really going to have a shot against someone with this sort of space, weight of shot, heaviness on the ground strokes. But Coco doesn't really like dictating all that much. I mean, I know her backhand can be pretty elite, but she's not exactly a player who like dominates you and basically not allow you to play your game at all, especially if you keep targeting the right corners, if you keep going for the right targets. So I think, in a way, she is actually a very decent top 10 opponent for Fruhvirtova and for many other players, really. I think even though her floor is so high, she still has these maybe random matches where things just don't work out on the serve, on the forehand. And yeah, she's just not going to blow you off the court. Probably not, at least. But if you do sort of get into her natural rhythm, then you will very likely be outplayed, obviously. There's a couple of big backhands again from Gauff, but as I said, I mean, go at the right targets. Fruhvirtova just plays a couple of deeper shots into the Gauff forehand cross court, and she gets an error. So it's not exactly a matchup where she has to lose, yeah. I doubt Gauff will be playing like this the whole match, though, because so far she's like had a few backhand bombs, but otherwise has been very disappointing. Yeah, I mean, Fruhvirtova is hitting pretty decent for what it's worth. Tough for her to finish off this point, though. There was a moment when it seemed like the short ball that she played, it wasn't actually like by design short, but it seemed like it would make Coco uncomfortable. But of course, she is so, speed. She's so fast. She's so athletic, and she manages to get there, and eventually also gets an error from the 16-year-old. Probably the second best 16-year-old in the world at the moment after Andreeva, right? It kind of has to be right. I haven't checked, but I'm assuming that is the case. That backhand cross is really nice. Sort of not playing with her own pace here, but countering what Gauff threw at her. And it does give her the point through Fruhvirtova. So another chance to secure this game, and a 3-1 lead along with it. Yeah, she is distinctly the second highest ranked 16-year-old at the moment. Of course, the third one would be Alina Kornieva, who won 2 junior slams last year, in one of them beating Mira Andreeva in the final in Australia, of course. The +1 backhand from Fruhvirtova now kind of spotty, and it's back to deuce again. Definitely, it's been a little tough for her to just, again, dictate, to impose herself. She loses the control, loses the consistency of her ground strokes then. But, I like that she's trying, because in the long run, that's something she really needs. And that's an ace as well from the young Czech. Probably not a common thing for her yet, but the placement on this down the tee, first delivery, was good enough for it to be an ace anyway. So one more game point Yeah, but again, the +1 backhand is just overcooked. Wasn't exactly going for much here anyway. Like she was trying to hit it deep, yes, but nothing else. So they're in a cross-court forehand rally now. Fruhvirtova hitting an inside-out backhand to get away from it. Gauff with this short slice invites her to move forward, but Fruhvirtova is not willing to take that chance. And maybe that was wrong since she really lost her balance there. And eventually Coco gets a short ball, which she punishes with the forehand. So after a few game points for the youngster, well, for the relative youngster, since of course Coco Gauff is only 19, but she doesn't feel like 19, given we've been watching her for so many years now. Uh, she, after a few game points for the relative youngster, let's call it, it's now going to be a chance for Coco to restore that break right away. Second serve for Brenda, but I'm not sure that really matters unless she serves like she did earlier in the game, like straight up kick to the Gauff backhand, which was punished right away. But this time she actually serves a pretty slow kicker to the middle. Gauff tries to tries to take it on the forehand side, and it's a pretty horrific unforced error given the importance of this point. Interestingly, Brenda is having a lot better a better time dictating of the forehand, it seems, right now. Getting some good pace and depth on it on the cross court rallies. Probably also, the fact that she's targeting the Gauff forehand there is like letting her be a little more comfortable. Although her sort of true intentions show through a few times, when she's taking these inside out backhands. When she gets a ball to the middle, she's still willing to go for her better shot. This was a really good point for her, and it's only really the finishing blow, the last shot, that she overplayed just a tiny, tiny bit. Otherwise, would have been one of her best rallies of the match so far, probably. But anyway, another breakpoint for Gauff. This time the return is in. She is under a bit of pressure, though. But yeah, Brenda just can't fully convert it, especially against someone as athletic and fast as Coco. And we have the break back. Well, the issues that we were sort of expecting to see from the 16-year-old are definitely presenting itself, right? I mean, she's gets the first strike, she gets the opportunity to move Coco to sort of get her on the stretch, and then doesn't quite have the ability to convert it just yet. Of course, she's not going to learn it mid-match, but was there anything else here? I accept your apology in full. No, Gusty. I definitely don't apologize. It still would have been Novak if not for the injury, obviously. And I'm not saying Hamad can't play mixed. He has a strong serve, so like you're already good in mixed then. But yeah, I don't think that was really a choice for them. Maybe I'm being biased after watching that incredible win versus Musetti, says Keen. About that was about Droguet. Yeah, I don't even want to comment on that. Like Droguet, Musetti. Musetti is just very vulnerable. But yeah, Droguet definitely had his moment, when he had that summer rise, right? Like a couple of Challenger finals in a row, plus that US Open run. He had his moment, but I'm not really expecting him to like keep following up on that this year. I don't think that will happen at least. Wow, that's a pretty huge forehand from Fruhvirtova, actually. This side is looking really good, actually, on the offense, and better than it was when I last watched her. Well, I last watched her against Blinkova in the first round. So it was 2 days ago. But I mean like the previous one before Auckland, which would probably be I don't know, maybe even like the French or something like that. So, but yeah, love 30 down. Coco Gauff now comes up with a big serve and finishes the plus one forehand quite comfortably. Next South American to win a slam, Haddad Maya or Serundolo? Serundolo, I honestly wouldn't be that shocked with, but yeah, I think it's still not too likely. Baez probably doesn't have the explosive potential. I think for Fran, it's also a big ask to play 7 matches on his peak level. But like theoretically, maybe his peak could be. But no, of course, if you ask me whether Serundolo will win a slam, I'm definitely saying no rather than yes. Although I don't think it's completely out of the question. Haddad Maya is always a possibility because it is slightly more open in the WTA with the wow, and that's a ridiculous backhand cross from Fruhvirtova. That shot has definitely been going pretty well for her. Whenever Coco gives her like this loopy forehand ball down the line, she just instantly punishes it. Won a lot of points like this already, and she gets 2 more break points. But Haddad Maya is possible because the WTA is just more open, right? I mean, her slam record is horrible, honestly, for whatever like for the all her other results. But of course, last year she started amending that a little bit. And yeah, best of 3 sets. I think it's always possible for her to be in contention. Again, if we're talking yes or no, I would also say no, but it is a possibility. I can't deny that. And and yeah, Fonseca, as you said, I think that's probably my answer. Um, I don't know if there anyone on the women's side who's like young right now. I'm not sure, right? I think yeah, Fonseca is probably the most likely answer. Honestly, I would totally not be shocked if he won a slam. Obviously, um, there was also something about Miles calling Medjedovic and Striker big boy tennis. Yeah, I believe it was Miles indeed. Will Fruhvirtova claim this point though? Again, she has Coco on the stretch, but just misses the forehand cross. And that's more of the same, right? I mean, she gets 5 big blows, Coco gets everything back, and then eventually she's the one who's going to miss. By the way, is this? I think it is Nicolas Massou, right? In Brenda's box. I didn't even know about it honestly, but apparently he's her coach now. Of course, the former world number 9 from Chile, winning, becoming a very successful coach recently with Dominic Thiem, and apparently now coaching Brenda Fruhvirtova as well. Why my boy is alone today? I've been alone for a lot of matches. Yesterday as well. The most of the matches that I like at least a few of these uh, at least like most of the matches that I did. Were by myself. John would usually be there for like the beginning of the Hurkacz Zhang or Świątek Zhang match, but then I would stay there alone. Anyway, Gauff actually saves the 2 breakpoints and survives this game. What else was there? Oh, Gary on clay if he ever gets his game back. That would be interesting, but I have this sort of vision of Garin's career where he's a bit like Cuevas, where he wins a lot of ATP 250s, but at the French, he actually is struggling to get a run. Of course, he has the Wimbledon runs, unlike Cuevas. But yeah, I mean, the competition is just going to be too strong, right? Yes, Cobus, we can see the match, but we cannot show it to you on the stream. So this is just like a watch along, as you can see in the title. Yeah, so I think Garin, the competition is just going to be way too strong on clay. I think Fran would have a better chance, even if I don't really think that he has that good a shot. But I think it's still better than Garin's at this point. Yeah, like there are a lot of talented players, obviously from Argentina, from Brazil, but winning a slam is just so tough that I feel like I would say that yeah, Fonseca will be the next big shot for South America to get a slam. How is Coco looking? Honestly, a little mediocre so far, but this is absolutely fine. Of course, she is still free to up. She has saved the two breakpoints just now. A couple of brilliant backhands early, but overall, she's like just sort of forced to defend. And eventually, most of the time, she gets the error from Fruhvirtova, who's like a little, well, inadept yet in terms of finishing points, converting advantages, positions, and etc. So like eventually she's probably gonna make the error if Coco is just gonna get enough balls back. But yeah, this has not been a really strong performance from her. We'll see if she actually has to produce something more. Did you see any of Gasquet GMP Battle of the Beautiful Backhands? I did not see it. I was like in and out of sleep at that point today or yesterday or wherever it is for you. Yeah, my day and night cycle has been really destroyed the last few days. But I was honestly fully expecting a Gasquet win. GMP is just so stiff, and I don't know. From time to time, he looks like this massive serve bot with nothing in his game, whereas from time to time, you can actually argue that his forehand shot making is pretty exceptional. It definitely was in Antwerp, and I feel like that he really needs it. He really needs it to be a great shot, and I'm just not sure it is really. But yeah, Battle of the Beautiful Backhands, of course, is quite sarcastic from Kin, in case anyone is wondering. The GMP backhand must be one of the worst shots in the top 200, but well, thankfully the physicality, the serve make up for it. Well, there's the Benoit Paire forehand as well in the in the top 200, I guess, and the Richard Gasquet forehand. Although I think we can clearly agree that the Benoit Paire forehand is way weaker. Brisbane starting its action pretty soon as well. I think it's going to be Azarenka Burel first on the WTA side, and of course Thomas Mahach playing Rinki Hijikata. And by the way, Hugo Humbert has withdrawn from Brisbane, so that's an easier quarterfinal opponent for Rafa potentially, provided that he beats Kubler today, as Jordan Thompson has just advanced to the quarters with a walkover. There was also a walkover in Canberra today with Alexander Richard giving Jakub Menchik a free pass to the semis, which I think probably would have happened anyway, but of course can't really be disappointed with that. I mean, I'm sorry for Richard, but it's a talented youngster getting to a semi, so that's good. Ooh, yeah, and that's a pretty sensational point from Coco to break here. Brenda, pretty good instincts here, I think. Going at the Gauff backhand until she gets like a shorter ball, then venturing forward to the net. But the volley, even though she initially seemed to have hit it pretty clean, it actually wasn't too deep. It was pretty slow, and of course Gauff just runs to it, with the speed of a gazelle, and she passes her with the forehand cross. So 4-2 up after 28 minutes, Coco, and it seems like she has really restored the high base game that she has, the floor, and sort of just is banking on that at the moment. And it won't hurt if the first serves are going to be as huge as the one just a second ago. That definitely wouldn't hurt her chances. The next one is just barely missed, though. Oh, you know what I was surprised about with Kokinakis? He was actually 12-3 in opening round matches on the ATP Tour last year. Like that's actually pretty superb consistency. I think it was his best year, like most consistent year ever. Of course, some of that is probably due to all of the injuries that he had. He probably would have had a better one earlier, but like he's still at a career high ranking. But yeah, 65 is not or like around 65, whatever that is, whatever his career height is right now, or like he's 65. Um, I think he has been a little exposed. Like that's not what we were all expecting, right? Everyone was like, if Kokinakis gets a full season, he's going to be in the top 30, for example, or something along these lines. I still think it's possible, but with time, I think it's becoming increasingly clear that it's not as simple for him as we thought. Some of that might be like motivation issues as well, or like, I don't know, just mental inconsistency, because at the beginning of 2022, when he won that ATP 250, like everyone was expecting a huge rise, right? And then he does nothing for the rest of the year. Yeah, I was just talking about the Gauff serve, and of course it fires another ace, so 5-2 up, and it seems like she's really in control of this opening set now, despite the early. Oh, and it's the comparison of Linda and Brenda on our screen. Yeah, number 2 and number 3 in the juniors, neither won a slam in singles, but they basically, like, once they got to the top of the sport, they just sort of gave up playing juniors because there was no reason to anymore. By the way, that comparison must be from what? ITF titles 5, and she's already 16 on that? I mean, she won 7 ITF titles in 2022 alone, so I don't think that stat works in any shape or form, really. So that's weird. Because if she's 16 already in this comparison, then she must have had a lot more titles than 5. But anyway, maybe it's one of the most common tennis channel infographics mistakes, which actually happen very often. No, but it has to be pretty new, right? I mean, she has a career high of 109 there. So no, this is just weird then, because she has 15 ITF titles now. Yeah, you don't get those kinds of mistakes from talking tennis, definitely not. And we also have a beautiful website. No lies detected whatsoever. Yeah, and as I don't know if I mentioned that, but earlier we already had one match in Auckland. It was Petra Martic beating Yuan Ye 6-2, 6-2. I probably have been talking about her on the channel as well quite a lot, but I really like the sort of untapped potential in Yuan Ye. But I have to admit that she is a little stiff, and definitely, despite her forehand attacking, shot making, and like how glorious it can be when she's on, um, players like Martic seem a little out of her league at the moment. It was the same with Jessica Pegula, of course, when she played that WTA 250. Was it Seoul? I think it was Seoul final in October. But that's fine. Like, I think if she's in the top 100, I'm already satisfied, right? Like, I just was constantly talking about her being underrated when she was outside of it, but after that great stretch to finish last year, I cannot really complain about her placement in the rankings anymore. Yeah, Coco Gauff is like really turning the match around, it seems. Well, turning the match around. Of course, she was just 1-2 down, and Fruhvirtova had like a number of game points, then and a couple of break points as well to break it to all. But now Coco is like really flying and hitting with a lot more confidence. The early aggression of Fruhvirtova hasn't really been sustained. And it also wasn't particularly dangerous, of course, given that she was still struggling to wrap up points. But I like the fact that she's working with Masu. That's well, that's a coach who's already, of course, has a lot of pedigree in terms of his playing career, but also already in terms of the coaching. I think he's like sort of everyone enjoyed his partnership with Team. There's no person that says that that he wrecked something for Domi or something. So yeah, I think that's a cool choice, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with what they're going to do together. Coco challenging the serve. I'm not sure if it was in actually. I'd say out. Oh, yeah, it's in by like the tiniest of margins. I think it's probably the error that the machine allows is like maybe around that. So we don't really know if it was in. But anyway, it's an ace for the Czech, who, as I said earlier, probably doesn't get too many at this stage of her career, but now she already has 2 in this match. Ugh, now it's Coco trying to dictate with the forehand, but it does fall short quite a lot. Fruhvirtova defends with a moonball. That's also a pretty common play for her at the ITF level. She wins the point, making Coco run to her forehand side, and she gets an error. It's like borderline unforced and forced. But anyway, 5-3. Of course, especially if Coco is serving just like in the last game, she won't really need it. When it comes to the next, or she won't really be afraid of having to serve this set out. The next opponent for either of these will be the Lulusun, I don't actually know how to pronounce her name, or Varvara Gracheva. So yeah, it seems like Gauff should continue her somewhat comfortable path to the final if she, no, sorry, to the semis if she beats Fruhvirtova, but we'll see. Navarro Martic though in the semis, like that's a potentially tricky matchup for Coco, I think. And the final, well, maybe if we get Raducanu or Svitolino there. It definitely seems like Auckland is more stacked this year than last year when, outside of Kenyan, Coco didn't really play anyone of note, I guess. Rebeka Masarova was having one of her best rounds, and she definitely had the best season of her career in 2023, but the final was not competitive at all. Funnily enough, at the time, it was like Coco's second WTA Tour title, and she was basically one of these solid top 10 players who don't contend for big titles. But of course, that all changed in 2023, and with the North American hardcourt season, and her going on that insane run, beating Świątek for the first time, winning Cincy, winning the US Open. Double fault to get it back to 15 all, but there's no harm yet. Yeah, it's a little weird watching Gauff for sure sometimes, because literally the first deep hard ball to her forehand, and often you're gonna get an error, but at the same time, of course, all the other parts of her game are so elite. But yeah, that was just a decent return from Fruhvirtova, and even Gauff is sort of signaling to her team, what she did wrong in terms of positioning herself to that shot. That's a bit of a missed opportunity for the 16-year-old, though. Gauff approaching the net, but it wasn't a really well-planned idea. And Fruhvirtova just nets a forehand pass. To her credit, she was trying to play it very low over the net, but still, that's a big opportunity missed given what sort of point it was, and the fact that we could have had 2 breakpoints back if she made it and won the point. But the first serve from Gauff is not going in this game, and that's a major difference. She's sort of like Qinwen Zheng, by the way, in that the first serve power is insane, but the getting it in is often tricky, and the second serve as well could be considered a weakness as well. And she actually just barely made that, but then goes for a forehand drop shot that was just, yeah. I think she probably changed her mind at the last possible moment. That's how it looked, that's how my drop shots look when I'm indecisive. And again, she approaches at Fruhvirtova, and the 16-year-old can't find the pass. But again, it wasn't the quality of the approach that made her miss. So a bit of a shaky game after all from Gauff. That 4-2 hold was amazing, but the 5-3 hold is not quite there. But maybe she still gets there. Saves the breakpoint. It's deuce. Again, the first serve not inside the court, not inside the line. And that already puts her in a bit of a tougher spot, especially as Fruhvirtova is targeting the forehand again. But this time Gauff survives. The moonball defense from Brenda again keeps her in the point. And now she might actually have a shot of dominating it. Not really. Yeah. I don't know if it's the leg, but Brenda is not looking that strong athletically here. It also might be just, her ability at 16 years old. Linda, her sister, is also not a little stiff, honestly. But yeah, she kind of has to recover with these moon balls. Anytime Gauff plays like a forehand down the line that's like not too loopy, at least, she tries to recover with the moon balls. And if it's too short, like this one was, then Gauff just gets a clean 3 point. And a big serve now. Finally, the first serve is in for Coco, and the set as well is already in the bag. 6-3. Pretty solid. Nothing special, honestly, but we sort of are expecting this event to go like this for Coco, I suppose. That at least up until a certain moment, she will sort of be okay with playing her 80% game. So far, it's been all right. It's been enough in this match. The serve advantage is pretty huge. The inability of Fruhvirtova to wrap up points is also quite crucial. So, yeah, and Gauff, by the way, has won 15 out of 16 points on her first serve. So, again, once it lands in, it's really tough for Fruhvirtova to pull off something. Also, in Brisbane, we've started Klara Burel, Victoria Azarenka, Vika with the early break, Thomas Mahacz, Rinki Hijikata as well in Brisbane, as I said earlier. The United Cup has just one match today, and it's going to be like this for 2 days now. So they will only play in the sort of evening, afternoon session, however you want to call it. It's in 5 hours from here, more or less. Caroline Garcia starting against Malin Helgo, which, of course, is expected to be a point for the French team, and then Adrian Manarino against Casper Ruud, and potentially the mixed doubles, which they will probably play, but with some other teams if it's 2-0 after the singles. This will be the rival for Poland, by the way, France or Norway. So that's how it works. Whereas, Australia, not Serbia, Australia will find out their rivals tomorrow. Do you think Buruchaga will reach the top 100? John, you may know of his father who won the World Cup. It's funny because we actually talked about it just 2 days ago. I mentioned Buruchaga for, I don't know what the conversation was, but John was instantly like, Buruchaga? And I definitely surprised him with this fun fact that it was Roman Andres Buruchaga's father, Jorge Luis, who scored the last goal in the 1986 World Cup final. Amazing fun fact once he gets to the main tour. I don't know if he will, though. Do you think Buruchaga will reach the top 100? To be honest, someone like Renzo Olivo did, right? I mean, I think the game has evolved a bit since, though. I think right now it's going to be hard for someone like Roman Andres Buruchaga to do it, especially as with the new round-by-round point distribution, he cannot really do it through big challenger results anymore, or like the challenger results would have to be enormous. And yeah, I don't like his chances, no. At least with the current state of his game, I feel like tennis, especially on the ATP side, has evolved to a point where players like Renzo Olivo and the likes will not be making top 100 anymore. But, of course, I can be wrong. Is Liam Brody going to break out his tea towel outfit to dazzle rubles tomorrow? I don't know the tea towel outfit, but that might be his best shot. I think that might be Liam's best shot, to bring out that tea towel outfit that for some reason you think will dazzle him, because otherwise I don't really know how he beats Rublev. Ghosty says, unpopular opinion, Noskova is better than the fruity sisters and she has better long-term potential. I agree. I think once she sort of gets more week in, week out consistency, she's actually the only elite ball striker of the three. And yeah, she's actually the only player who will be able to like hold her own against the other top guys. Well, guys, the other top girls, I guess, the other top women. So yeah, especially in like a quicker, lower bouncing court, I absolutely love Moskova's game. It's just a matter of her being absolutely wildly inconsistent at the moment, right? There's no 5 good performances in a row from her. I mean, I guess in Adelaide last year she did it, but after that, not really. But yeah, basically I agree with that unpopular opinion of yours. I also don't think it's that unpopular. I think it might be unpopular against like most sort of tennis fans who know of the Fruhvirtova sisters mostly by their reputation. But if someone actually watches their matches, I think they would agree with that. Maybe it's also not fair because, of course, Brenda is much younger than Noskova, but I do like Noskova's potential a lot more in the long run. I'm hoping just for a really consistent year now. There was also why is Coco not playing United Cup? I cannot really answer that, but last year she also didn't play it, and she was in Auckland. She won the title. She's defending it here, so I guess she just figured it will be a better start to the year. It will be better preparation for the Australian Open, which I'm not sure which one is better actually, because you might play an event and lose in the opening round, and then you have just one match in like under your belt, and that's not great. But at the same time, United Cup, of course, is like a weirder format. It still grants you a few opportunities to play at least, right? Like if you're a strong player, you're probably going to play 2 singles, 2 mixed at least. So yeah, it's possible. Keen, are you taking Menchik over any Czech WTA player to be next to win a slam from this country? Let me look at the other WTA Czech youngsters to think about it. There's Sara Bejlek. I don't really think she has Grand Slam winning potential. Fruhvirtova's, yeah, I think it requires a ton of development that we haven't seen so far. Havličková, Bartunkova, Klimovicova. Yeah, I think I would. Maybe with a slight nod to Noskova, honestly. Like, she could have Grand Slam winning potential in a similar way like Menchik could, I think. So I would sort of put them pretty close to each other. That's what I'm going to say. For now. Of course, with Menchik, we still haven't seen close to enough. Not necessarily in terms of his matches. I mean, of course, there's been a lot of chances to watch him, but just watch him play against higher quality opposition and also how he develops his game in the next few years. But for now, I would say Menchik and Noskova are like pretty similar in terms of their chances to me. Is Czechia just jammed with tennis courts everywhere you go? I've never been to Europe. I've been to Czechia many times, but I don't know if it's just jammed with tennis courts. I think it's just, good funding at the lower level. There's like a few great centers for junior development, especially Prostej, of course. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's just jammed with tennis courts though. But yeah, definitely the popularity, the tradition, plus the funding, and it results in a lot of good junior prospects. They are having a bit of a dry spell on the ATP side, I guess, but not recently, right? I mean, Mahac, Lehečka, and now Menchik probably very soon. This will be pretty good. But after Berdik, I know they were sort of considering their a bit of a sort of lost generation right after Berdik. But of course, right now it's changing since Mahac got to the main tour level. Lehečka was like a bit of a unexpected breakthrough, I would even say, especially compared to how Forejtek was perceived in the juniors and how Lehečka was like sort of, in the back row. But yeah, now it's definitely changing. And of course, on the WTA side, they always have someone. They always have a good influx of players. Hopefully this year I'm gonna catch at least one more Czech challenger. And so far I've only been to Ostrava, but there's also the Prague. I think maybe more than one event even in Prague. Yeah, definitely more than one event. Last year I think it was even 3 events in Prague and Liberec as well. So hopefully one of them this year. But yeah, most of my visits in Czechia were rather hiking related than tennis. So I can't really tell you if like in random villages in the south, there's going to be a lot of tennis courts. Yeah, again, I cannot really tell you if this is the case of the tape that she has on her leg, but whenever she's pulled wide to her backhand corner. Fruhvirtova's movement does not look great. She is literally like just saving herself with these moon balls. That's actually a pretty good forehand return from Gauff as well. But yeah, again, she was pulled wide and she just barely caught the shot on her racket. Like she couldn't even produce a response to it. So I don't think her movement is quite all right today, Fruhvirtova's. But it's not why she's losing the match. Like I'm not making excuses, you know. Although of course it is a part of why Coco has been very dominant in the past few games. Now another big return, this time of the backhand side, and she is putting a lot of pressure. Is there anyone to rival Jabeur for next African Grand Slam champion? Yeah, Lloyd Harris. I don't think it's a possibility. It's the same sort of long shot we could talk about with some of the South Americans that we mentioned earlier, but yeah, I think the competition is just too strong. I mean, put Lloyd Harris on the court against Alcaraz, Sinner, or Rune in a Grand Slam final, let alone Djokovic, and yeah, I don't think this will end well for him. And that's a forehand error from Fruhvirtova as the match is quickly, like her chances are quickly disappearing here. Coco looking at her as well in terms of like maybe trying to see if the movement issue is really a thing. That's how it seemed to me, at least. Like she was sort of scanning the movement of the 16-year-old. But yeah, speaking of the African talents, there's a few, I guess, at the ITF level, but they don't seem to be developing with that sort of pace, right? Like Eliakim Koulibaly or Kololva Monsi from South Africa. There's the Kenyan girl, right? She recently won an ITF title. Okutoni, is it her name? Angela Okutoni? Or I might be Okutoi, not without the N. Yeah, she at 19 she just won, I think, her first ITF. Yeah, she just won her first ITF title, didn't she? Or actually, her first 25K. She won a 15K as well earlier in the year. But are they developing at like such a pace where we would expect them to become Grand Slam champions? I don't know. Monsi Koulibaly I've watched. Okutoi maybe in the juniors like once, but I don't remember anything about her game. But these are like the players that come to mind probably as like at least they're young, you know, and fairly talented. But otherwise, it's probably a struggle to find a potential Grand Slam winner from Africa at the moment, which actually might make Lloyd Harris the most possible option. But yeah, that's not a big chance. The last few matches that I did for Talking Tennis have all followed the same pattern. So there's like a few competitive games early on, and then the favorite just totally starts dominating the match. I think we're seeing that today as well, where at some point it just becomes increasingly clear who's going to win the match. I guess you would expect it from Gauff, and as I said after a few games, like we weren't expecting her to be this average for the entire duration of the match. Obviously, like definitely there was a point when we just expected her to start dominating, to um, up the consistency, to show how solid she is in basically all aspects of her game, but the forehand. But even the forehand is pretty free flowing at the moment, and the inside in winner looks just completely routine. So she's now up a set and a break, in fact. And at this point, it's also pretty hard to see like how Fruhvirtova would stop the bleeding, or stop the bleeding to a big enough extent, at least.
Hey, Damien.
Oh, hey Miles. I will put on my headphones just so there's no like echo or anything.
Was I loud?
No, no, no. But I'm assuming that there might be because I'm not wearing
Uh,
earphones or whatever. Um, yeah. How are you enjoying this performance? Of course, being a bit of a Coco Gauff fan.
yeah, I've been watching pretty much since the 2-all game, and I've been impressed with Coco. I actually started off the match more impressed with Fruhvirtova. Brenda, right? Not Linda. This is Brenda.
Brenda, yeah, Brenda.
Okay. Yeah. She came out swinging pretty big and kind of just tapered off a little bit in that fourth game. Coco was able to break off or knock off some of the break points against her. And she's kind of shown that she's a top 10 player, even though there's not that big of an age group between the two. I think Brenda's 15 or 16, maybe, and Coco's 19. So they're still teenagers. But the difference in experience and knowing kind of like how to gauge yourself in a set and when to bring out your best level is showing, and Coco's free flowing right now, so it's good to see.
Yeah. Do you think there's any merit to the Fruhvirtova leg tape and like how she's, whenever she's stretched wide to that corner, she's like just sort of defending with the moonball, can't really cover.
Yeah, she
Um,
qualified to get into the main draw, didn't she?
yeah, she's won 3 matches already, indeed.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, at this level, 3 matches in a row probably does take a little bit of a toll on her body because she's not super used to the level. Because she won like what 5 or 6 ITF events in 2023, which is that's not bad at all. It's really darn good, but it's not WTA level, and even WTA qualifying level sometimes is a little bit higher than the ITF. So,
Yeah,
you
not
know,
here though. Like her qualifying draw was really weak, but I guess
yeah,
yeah, Blinkova the previous match, that was already an opponent that she wouldn't really have faced other than like playing Rybakina at the French, and like that maybe was her only other experience like this.
yeah. But she's done enough in this match just in that first set alone for me to um see that there with more development her game could be pretty good. And just development and maturity, I think she'll be a solid top 100 player in her own right. So she's kind of the wheels are kind of falling off now though. So
Ghosty, what the hell?
the WTA tour does have a way of like making names all blend into each other in a way. But the ATP tour is not far behind with the popular R last name. Rublev, Rude, and Rune are all in the
Rude
top
and
10.
Rune especially, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
I mean I don't confuse them obviously, but I've
oh yeah,
definitely
they look so different.
I've said the wrong name from time to
Yeah.
time just because it's so similar to each other. And of course on the WTA we have Ziyu and Xinyu Wang who played each other yesterday, which must have been a nightmare for the commentators.
Yeah, but it seemed like it was a pretty good match, and they kept saying throughout the commentary that they're not related to each other, as if people needed to know that. I guess the casual watcher would need to know that if they saw people with the exact same name going against each other, but I knew they weren't related, so that was kind of funny.
Ghosty says that he's surprised tennis isn't a thing so much in the Pacific Islands. This week, actually, we have the Numea Challenger in New Caledonia. So, yeah, but I guess there's just two like locals. Maxime Chazal, who plays for France, but of course it's a French overseas territory, but he's from there. And also Colin Sinclair from the Northern Mariana Islands, who actually lost to Benoit Paire, I think, today. Well, earlier today, unless it's tomorrow for you. Well, never mind. The day and night cycle recently with Australia is becoming
It's
really
about to be
confusing.
it's about to be whack for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I
why
forgot Benjamin.
I'm trying to prioritize sleep this week and next week, and just watch the matches that are most exciting. So when Australia comes, I can kind of be up and alert for everything because it's a Grand Slam, So
Yeah, I have no clue when I'm gonna sleep today. Like literally, absolutely have no clue what my sleep schedule is at the moment. But we'll figure it out. Hopefully, I'll be back up for the Rublev Brody Hong Kong one, which I'm also supposed to commentate on. Yes, Keen, I forgot that Benjamin Locke is from Zimbabwe, but I don't think it matters in terms of Grand Slam winning chances. Courtney, maybe he's going to win a double slam with Courtney John. Anyway, there was also Hazel Karas inspired more players to use the drop shot. I think he did, right? Like when he had all of these performances in Miami, for example, and he had like 50 out of 60 points won after a drop shot for the whole event. I do think that is inspiring to players and coaches, yeah. And they were sort of like, okay, let's try it out. Let's introduce that into our games. Definitely, Iga Świątek wasn't inspired, but I think the whole tour as a whole would see a bit of an improvement in an increase in terms of the number of drop shots.
Iga Świątek wasn't inspired.
Definitely not, given that she played like 2 drop shots in 2022. But maybe this is something that we're going to see again in her game. And in fact, we've already had a few cases.
It's so funny because when I think about Świątek, a lot of my mind goes still to this day goes back to that 2020 run to the French Open title. And there were some really good backhand drop shots during that run.
That was one of her trademarks at the very beginning of her career. But basically, they eliminated it around that 37-match win streak. They like literally, her coach told her not to play the drop shot. And well, now that she's sort of more focused on tactical approach and etc., I think it might be coming back. And in fact, we've already seen it a few times. But like growing up, getting onto the tour, this was definitely one of her trademarks. And especially as she was so focused on clay, and of course, it's such an effective shot there as well. How the hell is Errani still so highly ranked? What is highly ranked? I actually don't know.
ITFs. I think she hovers between like 130, 100, low 90s. And I think it's mostly because of ITFs and 125Ks, really. And some 250s too. She gets a win almost every week, really. She prioritizes
105. So yeah, that's
she
pretty
prioritizes the clay.
But like four finals last year, 1 title actually on hard courts, interestingly, but the final wasn't even played. But otherwise, also 3 pretty big finals. Bucharest, I think, was at 125. Las Francisas de Valles would be a 100. And San Luis Potosi would also be a 125. Semi in Florence, the 125. Yeah, she hasn't done much on the main tour, but the 125 level, maybe 100K as well. Yeah, that's where she's strong. Also, of course, got double bageled by Kim Van in Palermo.
I have a question I have a question going back to Świątek's use of the drop shot and how it relates to the match we're watching today. I'm interested because somebody on my Twitter brought up the fact that because I made a joke about Coco and Naomi probably being in the same section at the Australian Open just to kind of get the tickets going and all that, because that's how tennis Grand Slams work sometimes, whether you like it or not. And somebody was like, I hope that might be okay to a certain extent, but I hope she's not near Iga Świątek again. And she won't because of seeding, because she could be on the same half of the draw, but she won't be in the same quarter. Yeah. And I'm wondering, do you think it would help or hurt her if she were to implement a drop shot against Coco?
I mean, it could, if she's comfortable with it. This is one of the matchups where like Coco is usually defending far behind the baseline, so
yeah,
there's space to use it. But I guess the way they sort of eliminated the shot out of her game was they just simply thought her normal shots are just enough for every player on the planet. Then when they stopped being enough, but they've only had 1 real competitive match, right? When of course the one that Gauff won. So for the most part, I don't really think that she needs it at the moment against Coco. But like on paper, yeah, in a matchup where you're the one dictating, you have the timing advantage over the opponent, sure, if you're comfortable enough with it. But if Australia plays like last year, there's also not going to be too much space for it, I guess. Like if it's that quick. Then
the reason I brought it up is because I actually would like to see the matchups get a little bit more competitive. And I don't mind the fact that like the head-to-head is definitely pro Świątek now, but if Świątek definitely brought back the drop shot, in my mind, I'm not the most coach or strategically savvy tennis fan in the world, but in my mind that would actually give Coco a advantage because she uses her legs so much and she can run down balls. So I'm kind of hoping somebody just drops a little nugget of drop shot wisdom in her the next time they play, just so the match can be more competitive. I mean, of course, I want the head-to-head to get a little bit more even, because I think that makes the interest behind the rivalry a lot more. It's never fun to see somebody become somebody's pigeon, especially if they're both top 5 players. But maybe if Swiatek brings back the drop shot, we might see a little bit more competitiveness in their matches. We'll see. And hopefully they play in the semifinals of Australia or the finals. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. Like for now, it's not really a rivalry, right? And then, yeah, of course,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
a bit of a shame because they are like
Yeah.
touted as the two biggest. Well, you haven't seen Świątek Andreeva yet, I guess, but like Świątek
Mhm.
Gauff was supposed to be the main rivalry of the WTA Tour, and well, for now it's not. But yeah, we'll see. At least this one win is already progress.
If they play 3 or 4 times this year, it's a long season, so that definitely could happen. I would need Coco to win at least one of those again, just so the gap
Yeah,
doesn't continue to get wider. Like, I mean, I'm saying that from a standpoint of just being a fan of Coco Gauff's rise, and then also wanting to be, I want the rivalry to push the sport forward and popularize it as much as it can. I think it has the dynamics to do that, but it can't happen if Coco is constantly losing to her. So we'll see what happens. She's not losing this match though, so that's good.
yeah. And honestly, this has felt like a bagel since the very first game, really.
That
When
the
she,
game that she broke back to get on back on serve at 2-all, or to get back on serve and make it 2-all,
Mhm.
that was pretty influential. She's won one game since then, Fruhvirtova. So
Yeah,
but I do appreciate that though, because I mean that lets me know that Coco, she looked a little rusty in her first match, but this match she really was tested for the first 20 minutes or so, which is not a long time. But if somebody's really hitting you off the court, it can kind of rattle you. And Coco kind of found her I guess zen a little bit and started to quiet down some of the mistakes and allow Fruhvirtova to kind of hit herself off the court. So that's good to see. You have to be able to win the match on the day and do what you need to do to beat the opponent that's across from you. So Coco's done that so far. Yeah, when she fended off those break points in that 3-2 game or the 2-all game, one of those games. Yeah, that was a momentum shift for sure, Matthew. I feel like my tennis channel stream, I'm not sure if this would be the same if I had like a physical cable set up, but who has physical cable with like a box anymore? Rarely people do. So I use Fubo television streaming, which is like YouTube TV. I feel like they put Tennis Channel on a 15-second delay or something. That's what it feels like because
people often complain about it, like in terms of Tennis Channel in general, that
yeah,
it's lagging way behind. It's possible.
like Tennis Channel, like the linear network that you can find on traditional cable is it's doable because it's like only a 15-second or so delay. But once you go to their digital, their independent or straight content series, Tennis Channel Plus, that's even worse, which is weird because you're paying more for that service, and that delay is almost a minute or two. You can really be like some games behind if you're watching on Tennis Channel Plus in the States, which is not good, especially if you have your smart device right next to you and you're looking at the scores. It's like, why does my score say 5-love and I'm only watching the 4-love game? So
Yeah, yeah. From time to time, I also used some streams that were like a minute behind, and it's a bit of a nightmare because you cannot
you
really
know
read Twitter. You cannot do anything.
you're
So
like stuck in this little time warp almost. Like, I can't check my phone. I can't just like casually scroll it because somebody might be talking about a point that I haven't seen yet. I don't want to ruin the moment. So
yeah, I'm enough emotionally detached that I generally ended up scrolling Twitter anyway and like just finding out earlier what's gonna happen. But yeah.
Matthew's bringing up a hot button issue that I keep encountering on Twitter. Um, and you're wait, Damien, are you Polish?
Yes, I am.
Yes, so you can help me. This is going to be an educational moment on talking tennis. Matthew is saying I'm pronouncing Iga's name like Sui Antek. And I promise you, I'm not trying to pronounce it incorrectly, like some people think I am. And he's saying try it like Shvi Antek. Is that correct? Is that better? Is it
Don't I
Shvi?
mean I don't really know, when it comes to this transcription. Iga Świątek. I
That's
don't
how I
know.
feel like I say it. How I hear you say it is how I feel like I'm saying it. But
Can
I
you
get a
say it
lot of
again then? Can you say it again
Iga
then?
Iga Swiatek.
Well, you say Swiatek, and it's Świątek, but I don't really know if that's sort of if that combination of letters is doable for you, because obviously we cannot
I'm
really
not Polish.
pronounce.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of training. Of course, you would be
Yeah,
able
yeah,
to do
yeah.
that with some
Yeah.
time, but my jaw or whatever, my mouth is way more used to sounds like this. So, I mean, I think your attempt is absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with it. Um, yeah, it's obvious that a name like this is not going to be pronounced perfectly by everyone around the world, just because it's so well. It has two sounds that don't exist in any other language, literally. So I think for me, it's absolutely fine if someone does it a little differently. Some people are like more okay with it, and even like over time they sort of change the pronunciation of their name, if that makes sense. Like some sportsmen, they just are totally understanding of that, and they just like allow people to start saying their name in an Americanized or Anglicized manner. Świątek, I don't know if she cares, but well, I definitely don't.
Okay, good. Well, I try. I feel like people know who I'm talking about, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I really agree with you guys, Keen and Sean, when that talk about the drop shot. That basically, when it's executed right, the commentators will always say, "What a great idea!" Whereas when it's into the net, they always say, "No, that was awful, horrible. Why did you go for it?" Yeah, the end result is not exactly like the outcome shouldn't be considered as in that sort of discussion, whether it was a good call or not. Well, the outcome, at least the balance of it with the execution should be still in the back of your mind. Anyway, when we were talking, Coco Gauff won the match, and yeah, it was like the most predictable bagel in the second set. I've had this recently on all of these streams that I've done. The first set is close for like five games, and then the favorite runs away with it. It was Djokovic Zhang. It was even Hurkacz Zhang, honestly, to an extent. Świątek Zhang. There was something more, or maybe Nadal team. Oh, that was similar as well. So like you have a competitive match for half an hour, and then just complete destruction mode in the second set. And yeah, I guess I'm just a bit unlucky, or maybe I'm choosing matches which are just too lopsided. But
I feel like
I
it's a
wanted to see
typical
this
start
one.
to the year. I feel like it's a typical kind of like stutter start to the year because some people are still fatigued from 2023, some people are fresh, and because of that juxtaposition, you get like matches that kind of tail off or just get a little interesting. We're not like firmly in the swing of things yet, so it'll get better, I hope. I think the tournament here at Auckland for the WTA 250 is actually shaping up pretty nicely, depending on what kind of semifinal and final we get. Because later on, Swiatek, sorry, I keep wanting to say her name now. Elena Svitolina and Raducanu play later on, which I'm going to be calling on YouTube here and Talking Tennis. And the winner of that takes on Marie Buskova, and that if Svitolina actually wins that matchup, that means number 1 seed Coco Gauff and number 2 seed Svitolina are still in the tournament. And I actually would be kind of interested to see what that matchup would look like. I'm not sure if Coco's played Svitolina before on tour. I don't believe they played each other. Maybe they have. Let's look that up.
Who again?
Svitolina and Coco Gauff. I'm trying to remember a matchup that they may have had, but I can't think of one.
Yeah, me neither, off the top of my head. But yeah, like the final and the semis should be pretty competitive anyway. Last year, of course, it wasn't really the case. Like Coco only had one match really against Kenyan, but here the semis should be really good already, and also the final, as you said. Like if it's Raducanu or Svitolina, that would be a great final.
I take that back. I just typed in their names on the Google, and they actually played, ironically enough, in Australia, the 2021 Australian Open second round. Svitolina beat
Okay.
Coco. Svitolina beat Coco 6-4, 6-3. So that's interesting. I think that's
Don't
the only
remember that.
matchup. I really don't remember that matchup either.
Yeah. That's the only one indeed, and yeah, I don't remember that one either.
I don't. I remember a lot of Coco matches, but just not that one. I don't know why.
What is that poll? What is that poll? What the hell is going on? Will Gauff reach world number 1 in 2024? And 50% people said yes.
Would you be interested to know what I voted?
Are you on drugs?
Well, I don't. Okay, I don't think it's the world's wildest thing. Like, she is number 3 in the world. Like, you should be in the conversation to take. You should be in the conversation to take over world number 1 if you're number 3. But I just don't think it's happening this
Not
year.
if you're 2.5k or 3k points behind, and there's like probably it's not coming that you're suddenly going to dominate every single.
It's not likely. Yeah, I agree. It's not likely. That's
there
why
are
I
still
said
major weaknesses that Gauff has. Obviously, I'm not going to mention that forehand again, but yeah, I just don't think it's even possible. Literally, like I don't see a world where this year she starts dominating the tour.
It would take a huge effort. Like, I mean, she would have to lift multiple titles, not just. I mean, winning 4 in a year is great, but she would almost have to double that in my mind to finish the season world number 1 or even get there, really. Because I mean, it doesn't seem like Swiatek is slowing down, and I don't. This could backfire in a couple of months, but I don't see Sabalenka just completely crumbling in the big tournament. She might not win all of them. But I still see her getting to the later parts of it where she's gaining, significant points. But I voted no on Coco getting to world number 1 this year. I think it's something that she can get to in her career. I don't feel it happening this season. So
yeah, I think it's really like almost impossible bearing Świątek Sabalenka injury. There was by the way, something that you're definitely doing wrong with Świątek is the on. So like you're just saying Swiatek, but it's like on, like Matthew tried to teach you here. So
that has Swiatek.
Oh yeah, that's better. That's way better.
Okay.
Because it's the A with the small thing at the bottom, and
on Swiatek. Okay.
Yeah, that's way better actually. Guys, could Chapo game collapse in form and fall out of top 100 in the next 2 years? I think it could. Chapo is already out of the top 100. Yeah, but I feel like if he's healthy, he's gonna be back in no time. Like top 30 maybe. Like, I'm not saying back to winning. Well, he hasn't won big titles, but like back to contending for big stuff. I don't know if that would be instant. But like,
he needs to win another title somewhere. That's where it starts.
One, right?
Yeah, only in the one in his career. Even if he has to kind of retool and kind of fluctuate between challenger and main tour level, he needs to figure out how to bring his best level for a 4 and 5 match in a row kind of spell. And I haven't seen him do that in his career. Like, the thing that comes to my mind when I think about Chapo is that 2021 Wimbledon semifinal run, because that's really been the highlight of his career. But other than that, he's maybe been able to put 2 weeks together, and outside of that, it's been like hit or miss week in, week out. So yeah, he has to kind of retool things.
But like, if he's there, if he's just healthy for a year, he's still gonna be up there in like the top 30 or something. That's a given to me. He's still gonna produce enough of these peak performances. No, not. I mean, that's what it always was for him, right?
I don't know. Something about I have, maybe because I just haven't seen him play in a while. I need to see where his game is for me to just put him back in the top 30 again and getting seeded at majors consistently. I don't know. I'm interested to see what this comeback in his career looks like. We'll see.
I'm a little surprised, but that's actually a fair opinion. Like, it's not like saying that Gauff will be number 1 in 2024. Of course, you guys can quote me if that happens. Obviously,
I would actually be. I would put more if I was betting. I'd put more money on. This is going to sound kind of wild given everything that's happened over the past year, but I would put Rafa finishing higher in the rankings than Shapovalov right now in January 2024. I would.
I mean, we'll see when Shapovalov is even back on the court, right? So that's also a bit of a asterisk there. Damian, that's crazy. No way Chapo game is always going to be top 30 level. I'm very surprised you guys are saying that. Actually, hasn't been. It's been the case like for the whole of his career, right? Like once he got to the top 30, he never really dropped out. Of course, he
Mhm.
had very inconsistent results. Of course, he didn't really threaten to win a big title. Where I guess he was in an ATP 1000 final, but he played Djokovic there.
And he
But
did play a lot too. He plays pretty much every week, if not every other week. So that could be a reason. Like if you get to that level where you're consistently qualifying for main tour level events, it's easier to stay around the top 50 or higher because you're getting into
yeah,
those 250s and
and for a
500s every
player
week.
like him, right? For a player who has like no consistency but will have these 5 peak events a year, it's really easy to stay there. So yeah, I'm a little surprised by this. And Matthew also finally complimenting your pronunciation. I'm glad we were able to satisfy your needs. And
I
yeah.
feel very educated. Thank you.
Matthew also said that Coco was so humble and kind in the post-match interview. I haven't seen that, but that's very possible. She is a nice person, definitely. Okay, and well, that was the match. It wasn't too competitive. It wasn't too exciting. I still feel like we saw some progress in Brenda's ability to attack, or at least her willingness to come out of her comfort zone in the first few games. But yeah, of course, for now it's rough. It's the ability to convert the attacking positions advantages positions is rough. But Nicolas Massou, new coach, I'm excited to see what he can produce with her.
Who's Nicholas Massous?
Brenda
Nicholas Massous.
Fruhvirtova.
Oh, how did I
It's
miss
her.
that?
It's
How did
I actually missed it too before this match, but then I'm like, Nicolas Massou is in Brenda's box, and I started googling, and apparently it's a new partnership. Yeah.
When did he partner with Dominic Thiem? Was Dominic Thiem like an outside the top 50-ish player when they connected, or was he already inside the top 20 or so?
No. I think he was actually a very established player already.
So I wonder why
I
he's
will check
going
that,
the.
but I will tell you.
I wonder what the intrigue. I mean, I see why somebody would want to work with Brenda Fruhvirtova, but I don't
Yeah.
think I would have paired her with Nicholas Massou. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, Massou started working with him in 2019, so
Oh
he
yeah, he
was
was
like
already a Grand Slam finalist, right? Yeah.
Grand Slam finalist, probably just before winning his ATP 1000 title. Yeah, a month
He won
before
Indian
Indian Wells.
Wells
Yeah,
in 2019.
a month
Yeah.
before Indian Wells. Yeah, was when
I
Massou
forgot
started working
that.
with him.
Oh man. Now I'm gonna think about Dominic Thiem. I forgot he won Indian Wells in 2019. That was a great tournament.
Yeah, and when it comes to Brenda and Massou, I mean, I don't know who sort of started the talks, right? But Massou was looking for someone after splitting with Team, and a very talented junior. That's a good idea, I think. Obviously, there's a lot of merit to, just choosing Brenda Fruhvirtova as like this canvas that you can sort of work on, because she has such a solid base, and
Mhm,
then
mhm,
needs a lot of development, but
mhm.
also you've got a great point of, great starting point, really. So I like that for sure. And there's also he left in April after Estoril, but not sure when he joined. He did join in 2019. Keen was also asking whether she is known normally by Cory or Coco. She's definitely known by Coco by now, even though Cory is her given name. But like, even I think officially in draws, she's already like Coco, right?
Mhm.
And can Chris Eubanks maintain such a high ranking? Absolutely not. I think I believe that Chris Eubanks will be ranked a lot lower than this at the end of 2024.
I don't
I
think
think
he's
him and
making.
Vukic are going away from the like top 50 level for sure.
Alex, is Vukic Australian or American?
He is Australian, but he played for University of Illinois in the States.
Gotcha. I don't think Chris is going to drop back down to the challengers, but I don't think he's going to make a Grand Slam quarterfinal
Yeah.
again. Can he win an ATP 250 again this season? I think that's possible, but can he get to the second week of a Masters 1000? Possibly, but a Grand Slam quarterfinal, I don't think he's doing that again, and he may finish inside the top 50, maybe just outside in 2024. But I don't think he's going to go down to like almost exclusively playing challenger. So I think that's a win. So I like him. So I kind of am a little biased because I think he's a cool guy and his commentary is great. And I've listened to a whole bunch of stuff he's put out as far as content from other tennis outlets. So I'm biased, but I think he'll be okay.
I like him a lot as well as a person, but Yeah, I just don't think the game was ever really top 30-ish level. And by now, like his results, the ones that he's sort of based this on, the 250 in Mallorca, the quarters at Wimbledon, the quarters in Miami. Other than that, he has very little. He hasn't really held up on the ATP tours before, besides these free runs. And these are like results that could really like drop off his ranking in a second. You don't do well on grass, and he's already 70-ish, 80-ish probably.
Yeah.
And that's maybe where I see him at the end of the year. I think Vukic might be in even more trouble though. There was also something. Oh yeah, Ghosty was laughing at John saying that it pains him to say it, but he agrees with me. But this could be understood in both ways, right? So it might pain him because he's agreeing with me, or it might pain him because he also likes Chris. Which, in that second manner, it does pain me to say it as well. But I am able to keep my bias firm, like steady here. But who is winning, Raducanu or Svitolina? Surely the Ukrainian is the favorite. Do you agree with that, Miles? And you will be commentating on this match, right?
Yeah, I will. I think Svitolina is the favorite, but I'm interested to see what Raducanu can bring to the match because I didn't watch any of her match in the first round, which she took on Alina Gabriela Rus. So I'm interested. I'll have my kind of eyes wide open on Raducanu because I do hope that she can get back to a higher level in 2024. And Svitolina, I did watch a couple of games of her match against Wozniacki, and she's as aggressive as I've ever seen her, which is good to see that be consistent from 2023 on to 2024. So yeah, I think it should be an interesting match. They both have good stroke production. They don't really have overwhelming power. I think Raducanu can take the ball a little bit earlier than Svitolina. So we'll see. It could be a very interesting matchup, and I think it's their first time playing each other. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I also saw just a bit of Raducanu against Rusa. So even though she has the talent to be winning a match like this, she's definitely not the player in like better match rhythm. Despite Svitolina not playing since the U.S. Open, at least
Mm-hmm.
she was active last year. She's obviously very
Mm-hmm.
consistent as well. Gotta treat Svitolina as the favorite, but I like that. I think I think I will definitely try to watch it if I'm still awake at that point. As I said, I have no clue when I'll go to sleep. Why are tennis critics so biased towards the big names? Are
I, I
you?
I feel like they deserve a little bit of bias because the reason they're a big name usually is because they've won big
Yeah, but
events.
who is the big name here? Like who is Ghosty referring to? I'm not sure.
Because technically, some could say Raducanu is a bigger name because she's won the bigger event, which is the U.S. Open. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
tennis people in the know, I feel like would give Svitolina the edge because she's played more tennis in the last 6 months than Raducanu has, and she's shown a bigger level of consistency in her career. Because Raducanu has shown 3 weeks of consistency if you include qualifying. So
Yeah, Svitolina is more aggressive than before the baby, says Ghosty. Yeah, which is of course very true. Raymond Sluter doing some good work with her. And yeah, if that holds up, she's definitely gonna keep dominating all these counter puncher matchups like Kasatkina or Wozniacki. Whether she will keep dominating players like Raducanu, we shall see. But yeah, I mean, Svitolina is pretty clearly the favorite. Although I would love to see Emma win, and I am actually a big believer still that she can return to the top.
I believe in that too. I think she can get to. She may be even finishing inside the top 30 this year. I think. I still believe in the hard court champions that are pretty young, which are Kenin, Raducanu, and Andreescu. I believe in all of them. So maybe with not enough merit behind it, but I believe in all of them.
Just a couple of days ago, and we'll be finishing this up, by the way. But yeah,
Mhm.
just a couple of days ago, I was reading a darts article, and someone literally just in the middle of that mentioned Emma Raducanu because he was talking about a weak draw, and he said that this draw was weaker than Emma Raducanu's run at the U.S. Open.
Wait, you mean
Which
like darts? Like darts, the sport?
yeah.
Oh, I've never watched that. But they have like a similar draw system to tennis.
It was about the World Championship where there were 96 players. The first 32 seeds played from the second round onwards. and the other 64 played from the first round. So yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
At least in most events, it's going to be pretty similar. And yeah, basically that's the comparison that this guy who wrote that article made. And it was pretty funny to me that I found Emma Raducanu in that sort of just randomly in the middle of that article, but also sad because she
Yeah.
in the mind of, let's say, an average person, an average sports fan who probably isn't too big on tennis, she clearly exists as an example of like a one tournament wonder, which doesn't really have to be like this. And when talking about her success, the guy sort of mentioned that the draw was so easy and not that she played so well, which I still feel like that's the bigger story, the fact that she was ridiculous in these 2 or 3 weeks, as you
She
said.
did
So
play very well. Yeah, that was some crazy tennis.
I really hope that she gets a run sometime soon, just because it would be sort of show these guys that it's not like this.
It wasn't just a fluke. Yeah, I think she'll be
Yeah.
fine this year. If she can stay healthy, which is a big ask, given what we've seen since the U.S. Open. If she can stay healthy, I think she'll work her way back into relevancy in her own way. So yeah.
Yeah, and
And
Andreescu, just
Ghosty, I'm
mentioned
still on the bus. I'm still on the bus or back on the BB bus. Her year end post on social kind of got me thinking that maybe she's just hit a rough patch in her life and career. So she's still young enough to have a whole entire second run at being a top 10 player, really. Again, similar to Emma Raducanu. It's funny how much they have in common, but if they just stay healthy, I mean, like no trips and falls on the court or just very minimal things. Because I think rarely tennis players go an entire season at 100%. But I mean, somewhere between 80 and 100 is what you need to kind of bring your best level out there. So if they can stay around there, I think Andreescu and Raducanu are top 20 players for sure. I think so.
Yeah, and is there anything else in the chat? Oh, sorry. If Emma wins the title, I really don't know what they'll say. Then Raducanu play 2 qualifiers in the US Open, maybe, but like not later on.
I remember she played Vogelé, Stephanie Vogelé, because I was at that match at the US Open. So maybe she was.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, I definitely remember Sakari, Benjic, Fernandez. These
And
weren't qualifiers.
Shelby Rogers, yeah. Shelby Rogers wasn't a qualifier, but maybe everybody before then? I don't know.
Vegale apparently was a lucky loser, but otherwise, I don't think she played a qualifier. Not that it really matters, though, anyway, right? Like, if you play the qualifiers in first and second round, what does it really mean?
Yeah.
Nothing. If she played 2 qualifiers in the semis and the final, yeah, sure. Andreescu is great, says Ghosty. Hope she rises again. Yeah, she's in that same spot as Emma, right? Like, well, more tournaments that she was amazing at before her injuries, but like, yeah, mostly health is the priority, and they can't quite.
I was listening to a podcast you were on with Crack Rackets about, I think it was about players that are going to crack the top 100 this year for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think Kian is talking about your pick for Gabriel
No,
Diallo.
that's actually a different one. But yeah, Gabriel Diallo we did talk about there because Alex was also a big fan of his. But he's actually talking about me picking Gabriel Diallo for the Canberra title, because on my Challenger pod I do these winner predictions, and I'm glad, Keen, that you're mentioning this one, not the 2 ones that have absolutely been like nightmares in Oeiras and in Nontaburi, where my picks lost in the opening round. But yeah, Diallo is in the semis already, and I definitely am satisfied with how he's doing. He just defeated Matteo Gigante, whom he lost to at Wimbledon in the qualifying. So that's actually a pretty solid win, given that Gigante sort of I think he matches up pretty well against him with like lefty counter punching and etc.
The Canberra Challenger is, I'm looking on the website or the app, it says it's a 125. Is that the highest level challenger you can win?
Well, there's a 175, but that's only in the second week of Masters of ATP thousands. So last year that was the introduction of that category, and when you got 5 of them, Aix-en-Provence, Bordeaux, Turin, Cagliari, and Phoenix, of course. And 2 of them were actually won by Hugo Humbert, and I think 1 of them by Andy Murray. So it was really high profile. But yeah, 125 is like generally the in regular weeks it's going to be the 125, and Diallo is in the semis already. But that event is really stacked also, so it could be Kepfer or Goffin for him in the
Gauff,
semis. So,
Kupfer. They're playing
probably
right now.
mentioned Nakashima in the bottom half semis as well. So it will be pretty rough to win that one. I also still have Arthur Cazot in Numea as one of my picks, but that also remains to be seen if that works out. But yeah, anyway, do we have anything else? I guess cracked rackets, Ghosty, like with the past tense.
I mean, it's better too fast, Ghosty. Not crack.
Well, crack rackets, yeah, that would be a good party. But anyway, John, as I see there, to finish off the stream. So thank you, Miles. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We sort of stayed on as well after the match to talk about it, to just ensure that you get some content out of the stream, which was a little short, with the match being a lot less competitive than I was hoping for. But anyway, Coco Gauff into the quarterfinals. Hasn't really been forced to, give her 100% level so far, but that's what we were sort of expecting, at least on the way to the semis. And for now, I guess she gives you confidence that she's going to step it up when needed.
And she's on a 7 match. Does that make 7 matches in a row in Auckland? Because she won 5 last year and 2 now. So, yeah.
Yeah. That would make it. And also straight sets, all of these. So, yeah. Basically, she is yet to lose more than 4 games in a set in Auckland.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you to all the chatters, and I guess that's it. And also a reminder that we're going to have 3 more streams today. One of them is going to be with Miles, Raducanu, Svitolina, Miles, Isabel, and Bianca, is it right?
Yep.
And there's also Nadal Kubler, which is going to be Jack, and then Brody Rublev, which is going to be Mario and me, probably. Hopefully, I'm going to be awake for that. I hope that biology, nature doesn't beat me to it, but I will try.
That's the match. Yeah, that's the match before Raducanu and Svitolina. It's Gracheva and Sun. They're about to take the court right now.
Yeah. But it's like Raducanu and Svitolina are not before 6:30 my time. Yeah, 6:30 local as well. Is it?
I think that's what I remember seeing. I think
it's possible, but it's 6:30 a.m. my time and
6:30
p.m. in Auckland. Yeah,
6:30
p.m. in Auckland and 6:30 a.m. my time. But anyway, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that it will likely start on time, since there's just one more match coming right now. Sun Gracheva are actually also the rivals for Coco Gauff potentially. So yeah. Anyway, we've been talking about it way too much. Yeah, 12 hours time difference apparently from Poland to New Zealand. So yeah, keep tuning into the streams. 3 more coming today, so it's a very busy day. I actually wonder if it's the busiest day that Talking Tennis has ever had in terms of the streaming. Probably in Grand Slam weeks, maybe there was something, but in terms of the 250s, and we're not even using the United Cup for it. So yeah, lots more reasons to tune into the channel. Target 6K subs by end of Australian Open. Wow, John likes to go with these bold ones, but yeah,
it's worked so far. So
if we keep streaming 4 times a day, I think we can get there.
Somebody's going to be talking tennis, right? Somebody's going to click that subscribe button.
All right, because we're bleeding subscribers right now. Clearly, we have stayed on for way too subscribers, not subscribers, thankfully, but bleeding listeners. Thankfully, we are done with the talk. Apparently, we have stayed on for too long. And yeah, again, thank you, Miles. Thank you to the chatters. And that's our cue.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
You've been to the French Open final. Your breakthrough, at least standout result at the beginning of your career, was on grass against Venus. You've been very solid on the hard courts. Is there a slam in particular that you go, I think that's, if I'm going to get one, the first one might come here, there, or where?
Well, I don't know. I mean, everyone, I'm like, I think this is the first one. So I don't know. I mean, obviously now going to the French, I do have a lot of confidence on the surface. But I'm not really thinking about that. I feel like, in the past I was, and it gave me some like defeats that I feel like I shouldn't have lost, maybe more so my head. So going in now, I mean, I feel like, you know, everyone could be the one, but I think I have to just take it a match at a time and just feel it out and enjoy it. I think when you focus too much on the destination, you don't enjoy the journey there. So now I want to focus more on the journey, and you know, if the destination gets there, that's great.
John, I won't let her go cool down, but we can do a couple.
Yeah, right now?
Okay. Sure.
Okay, great.
You got it all inside of you.
Yeah, should work fine. Can I have 10 seconds or 20 seconds?
Okay.
I didn't know, sorry.
All right.
That's fine. He just wants to. Yes, yeah, no, that's fine. You can just time and then
Feel it to be true. And when you dance,
Yeah, sure.
Is it okay to stand here, or you'd rather sit down there?
where do you want me?
Standing here?
Here?
Is okay?
Okay. Yep.
I don't want to, make you stand up for too long. Okay, let me just check the cameras on. Yes, it is. What a return! Leila Fernandez! Take him out! Match point, ladies and gentlemen. Championship Billie Jean King cut point. Get her in somehow. What attack? What defense? Wow! Wow! Look at this! Boy,
I was probably a little bit bamboozled with with everything. Sorry.
And Billie Jean King Cup 2023, that's a wrap.
Ready? Play.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice actually. I'm just talking at you if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of homepage, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff, exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid. But these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay. Hey, thanks for taking the time to, well, you haven't got any choice actually. I'm just talking at you if you like. But I'm here also to present to you why I think it's not a bad idea and not that expensive as well if you become a member. And this is how you can do it, and this is what you can gain. So if we look here at the Talking Tennis sort of homepage, if you like, on YouTube, we can see this little button here which says join. It is also pinned in the live chat as well, and you can also, I think, see it just below most of our videos, certainly the live ones and so on. Now, why is it a good idea to join and become a member? Well, in the live chat, you can add little funny things, you can add emojis and all sorts of things, but possibly more importantly, you can get to access some live videos, such as this one here, where we look back on the last sort of few moments from the Billie Jean King Cup. So there are little bonuses such as this one, but there are many, many more. And in fact, if we have a quick look at all of the members only stuff, I repeat, you will see very, very quickly some of the top stuff that we've had for members only over the last 12 months since the channel began. Remember, these videos are for members only. You can become a member from as little as about $2 a month, €2 a month, £2 a month, something like that. There are various different things. Oh, and by the way, you'll also be supporting the channel. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario. Let me just show you some of the members only stuff. For example, we've got an exclusive little clip there talking to Laura Siegmund, Laura Tsurenko, her encore interview, some doubles footage there from Monastir, the Germany press conference pre-tournament Billie Jean King Cup, Claire Burrell talking as well to the media in her press conference in Monastir, Storm Hunter and Alicia Parks interview, Rebecca Masarova, her press conference, Coco Gauff, exclusive for members only, albeit it was in Madrid. But these are just some of the things, some of the interviews and etc. Like Lestien here, a chat with him, Emma Navarro, and so on and so forth. So many little bonus videos available for just €2 a month. So, what are you waiting for? Become a member. Or don't. It's okay.
Ready? Play.
Emma Raducanu has given an interview with the BBC where she's outlined her plans to return from injury, when that will be. She's also explained what she's been up to whilst away, and she's been watching much tennis. She's also got an answer for the critics, of which, some are on social media, but also, of course, many within the media. And she's also explained which is the slam that she would most like to win. What is her ultimate dream in tennis? So as I say, the interview was given to BBC London earlier on today, where she outlined her plans to return to next season, and also how she would one day love to win Wimbledon. So she will make her return to tennis next season after struggling with injuries mainly since May. She obviously had injuries since then, but she hasn't played since May. She withdrew from the Madrid Open, I think on the eve of the tournament, to basically have some operations. She's missed 3 of the 4 Grand Slams. She did play in Australia, where she lost to Coco Gauff. And, of course, just a couple of days ago, she dropped out of the world's top 200 and did confirm in this interview with BBC London that she will not be returning to the tour until next year. Britain didn't make the Billie Jean King Cup finals, which will take place in Seville in the south of Spain in November. Also, she has no hope of making the WTA finals, also in November. So she confirmed that next season will be her return to tennis. 20-year-old also said that the slams are obviously finished now, but it has been difficult to watch them go by. She was just said, I want to stay in my lane as much as possible and keep focused on my recovery, were her exact words. The 20-year-old has been hampered, though, by injuries since winning that US Open title in 2021, when remarkably she managed to qualify and go all the way to the title without dropping a set in New York. She also made British #1 at one point as a result, but has not gone beyond the second round of any Grand Slam since that mesmeric, incredible run 2 years ago, when she became the first British woman in 44 years to win a major singles title since Virginia Wade. She was also asked about how she deals with criticism, and Raducanu had this to say. The fact they are still talking about me, even though I'm not at these events, is just a compliment. Someone told me once, for example, Worry when they're not talking about you, she added. Raducanu has of course returned to the practice court. We did see some glimpses of her playing some short tennis in August, for example, the first time since she underwent surgery earlier on this year. And in fact, she only did play 10 matches in the first 5 months of the year. She said she does hope to return to better form and fulfill her Wimbledon dreams. Wimbledon is the dream, she said, and always has been growing up. Of course, she's from the UK, so it makes sense. She said, it's the ultimate dream to win Wimbledon. Back in May, she seemed to undergo 3 successful surgeries. She said that she underwent the surgeries on both of her wrists and her ankle in a letter posted on social media. In fact, she said at the time, it's safe to say the last 10 months, so that would have been the summer of 2022 until these surgeries in May of this year, have been difficult as I dealt with a recurring injury on a bone of both hands, she said at the time. She said she tried to manage the pain and play through it for most of the year, but in the end it was just getting too much. She was missing so much of training as well as certain tournaments anyway, that for her it made sense to go ahead with these procedures. Well, now she has confirmed that she will be back. I would imagine, therefore, for the Australian swing, maybe United Cup, end of December, beginning of January perhaps, for the 250 in New Zealand or elsewhere. And then, of course, the Australian Open.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play. Welcome everyone. Let's start the press conference. Please, questions in English.
Jannik, thank you. Congratulations. This afternoon, did you play the match of your life? And what did it feel like playing that match?
Match of my life, I don't know, but it's for sure very, very important. As I say, it helps a lot the last competition that is a team competition, and because you get a lot of energy from your teammates, from the whole team, and then the crowd is different. And I really enjoyed playing today. It was a great match. I started off really well, and obviously in the second set he raised his level, and the third set I just tried to hold my service games and waiting for a good opportunity, which arrived on 5-all, and I took it. And obviously it was a very crucial match for the whole team, and at the end of the match I was really happy for the team to be at least able to play a deciding doubles, and we played really good, and I think it was a really positive day today.
Jannik, I just wanted to ask you about the 3 match points that you saved at 4-5 in the third set in the singles. Can you just talk us through what was going through your head? How did you remain calm in those moments, and what were you trying to do in each of those points?
I know that it was a really important, obviously, important game. We changed not for so long for new balls, so I knew if I'm gonna serve well that maybe I have some free points. But I had to stay in the present moment. It was love 40, and he missed a quite easy backhand, which gave me a little bit of confidence and belief. And then after I served twice, really good. And nothing, after this kind of games, your energy level and then mental level, it's racing, and I think this helped me today.
Jannik, over here. I'm not sure anyone else can maybe say they've beaten Novak Djokovic twice in one afternoon. What does that achievement mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. Obviously, before the match, we were talking that it was a really important test today. You know, trying to understand what to expect before the match, and then I think we made a good tactical moment also before the match, and obviously playing it is a little bit different. But I think I have to be really proud about how I handled the situation. And as I said, I'm just very happy for all of us, for the team, and tomorrow we have a great opportunity. We know this, but in the other way, we will try to stay as relaxed as possible. You know, keeping the smile in our head, which is important also, and then also to be happy to be here. No, it's not so many. For me, it's the first time that we can play a final in Davis Cup, which it means a lot for us.
One last question in English.
Jannik, just looking forward to the final. And to the other guys, please, as well. Apparently, the Australian team that you're facing in the final, you'll be playing de Minaur, presumably, in the second match. And you've got this extraordinary hold over him. I think it's only going to take one set off you. How much of an advantage do you think that is for you, and what confidence does that give you?
Well, we don't know who is going to play.
Se ti faccio giocare.
Yeah, we have to decide. We have to. You know, I have a lot of hours in my leg. This I know. If I play against him, it's going to be different. You know, finals, as I said, it's always different. But let's see. It's his decision. He's the captain of the team, and so he can answer you that.
What do you say?
Thanks, Jannik. No, obviously it's our point of power. Jannik give us a lot of energy, give us a lot of confidence in ourselves. Obviously, he's a great player, but he's not only a great player. So he's a great person. That's what I like. So, yeah, he's probably in the first position to play tomorrow.
What do you think of the Australian team?
Strong, different. Different from Serbians. Maybe closer than Netherlands as singles and doubles. But still, we have to take care of us, thinking about tomorrow, enjoying today, but focus for tomorrow. So head to tomorrow.
We switch into Italian. Per favore, domande in Italian.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see sometimes you don't actually, sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see sometimes you don't actually, sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see sometimes you don't actually, sometimes you don't.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
John, I won't let her go cool down, but we can do a couple.
Yeah, right now?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, great.
You got it all inside of you.
Yeah, should work fine. Can I have 10 seconds or 20 seconds?
Okay.
I didn't know, sorry.
All right.
That's fine. He just wants to. Yeah, yeah, no, that's fine. You can just go to the time and then
Feel it to be true. And when you dance
Yeah, sure.
Is it okay to stand here, or you'd rather sit down there?
where do you want me?
Standing here?
Here? Okay, yep.
I don't want to, make you stand up for too long. Okay, let me just check the cameras on. Yes, it is.
What a return! Leila Fernandez. Take a bow. Match point, ladies and gentlemen. Championship Billie Jean King Cup point. Get her in somehow. What a tackle. What defense? Wow! Wow! Look at this!
I was probably a little bit bamboozled with with everything. Sorry.
And Billie Jean King Cup 2023, that's a wrap.